I'm on a roll this afternoon, forgive me. I just came across a YouTube feed about the Australian-European Union Free Trade Agreement. And reading it, and then following some of the French objections, I thought, should I stick my oar in here? Now, in all these things, I am not a diplomat, not involved in this retired person living in France. But I pay attention and I have an interesting background to bring to these things. Nevertheless, it does strike me that from a zoomed out position, some tactical, or if that be strategic, rethink may be in order. Now, hence my question, what is the Australian Embassy in Ottawa doing? And by that I mean, the Canadians, under the duress of rambunctious American policy changes south of the border, have made a set of strategic decisions, not tactical, not short-term. They've made a call that the United States, for the foreseeable future, is not a reliable partner for doing anything except essentials, and even then you have to have your seatbelt fastened. So, for example, let us revisit that Australian-French submarine deal that Washington, with help from London, I suspect, helped harpoon. That was Christmas past. That should never happen again. Why? Because you cannot trust Washington. It isn't consistent. From minute to minute, its policy changes. It's all tactics and no strategy. And with defense deals, given all this, obviously, lead times, delivery times, production times, updating time, we can't have chaos every minute of the day. Therefore, if the French can reliably provide Australia what it needs in terms of weapons, not that I'm keen on weapons sales, but there it is, then let this deal proceed. And let's not let things like happened last time happen again. Now, the same applies to the Canadian Free Trade Agreement with the European Union, which, it works, but it doesn't work. In other words, the numbers have never delivered. Now, these are complicated and some things, but okay, tactically, where am I going with this? In order to make sure the French can become reliable arms suppliers to Australia, I think tactically, the Australian Embassy in Ottawa has got to start not listening, but digesting the immensity of the Canadian decision to no longer rely on Washington structurally. Tactically, our deal, yeah, but structurally, no. And the Australians need to make a similar readjustment. And that means tactically, oddly enough, in the food deal, to keep that from coming unstuck, I want the Australians to cut the French and the European Union, Brussels, more slack. If it means a few less beef exports or what have you, let's have less. To make it easier for the French government in particular and the European Union in general to persuade a skeptical European Union public that this is a good deal. Now, in the broadest terms, it is a good deal because Washington and the United States is not reliable. We have to build a community, call it the coalition of the sane, to keep things moving. And that means trade agreements, be it with Latin America, between the European Union and the European Union and Australia. We need these things. We need to make the Canadian deal work better for everybody. But tactically, that may make compromises. The Europeans are under pressure to persuade very skeptical farmers. I think the farmers are wrong, and I'm going to say so. But I'll do my bit, and to agree that out matters, but I'll do my bit, but you guys have got to do your bit, and that means cut President Macron more slack so that he can deliver. We need the delivery. We need the larger picture of sustainable, long-term overseas trade relationships, defense relationships that will work for everybody included, while we hold our breath, while the big boys supposedly, stop being children. Anyway, thought for the day, onward, come on. That embassy in Ottawa is pivotal. You are the conduit. and you have the access to Canadian opinion, go talk with Monsieur Carney. Let him tell you what he knows about this, and deliver the bad news, the good news, call it what you will, back to Canberra so that we can start getting our policy ducks in a row again. Onward.